Surprisingly, it seems the other curse bearers haven't been that proactive about collecting soul dregs. Did you see the news this morning?
No, I haven't.
Overnight, 3 mysterious deaths were reported in this area. They've yet to announce the identities of the bodies found, but they've been nicknamed the Honjo serial killings. It's garnered quite some attention on the streets.
Oh my. Only 3?
That's what I thought. Even the victims were curse bearers. Just 1 or 2 wouldn't be enough soul dregs. And for what those curse stones are capable of, a mere 3 victims seems a little on the low side. With this little activity all through the night, the curse bearers must be a cautious bunch.
What's holding them back? Are we not all after the power of resurrection?
There may still be some undiscovered victims, but it doesn't seem like anyone has gathered enough soul dregs yet. We might have to set up some bait to spur them into action.
Get some chicken nuggies out there. And then we offer them the deal.
None of the curse bearers seem very proactive. I wonder if this situation could be what the mastermind who kicked it all off intended.
Now that's an interesting theory. You think there's someone behind this all?
You mentioned hearing an agonized voice telling you to kill when you first obtained the curse stone. It doesn't sound like a coincidence to me. Someone agitated the curses in the area on purpose. And they are all likely after the rite of resurrection as well.
So you're thinking this person is not one of the curse bearers?
You've got a sharp mind, ma'am. Though it might seem obvious for the mastermind to become a curse bearer and collect soul dregs if they were after the rite, this would be very risky, since as a curse bearer they themselves would become a target.
So it'd actually be more convenient for them if the curse bearers move less aggressively.
That's right. But despite that, they've been inciting the curse bearers to commit murders. Why? Let's consider this. What if the mastermind isn't trying to collect soul dregs themselves?
You mean their intention was also to steal the souls while the other curse bearers compete with each other from the start?
Sitting back and observing from the sidelines is a safer course of action. Which is why I figured it best for us to attempt the same strategy.
So, how should we do it?
There's still a reason to suspect the mastermind could be a curse bearer themselves. To be honest, I want to keep my distance from whoever it is. There's no telling what kind of power they might possess. Whether our aim is to negotiate or steal, we'll have to outpace the mastermind in making contact with the other curse bearers.
How do you suppose we do so?
At this point, all we can do is search. Speaking of search, any birds? Oh, I think we got the bird here. I don't know if they repopulate in the same areas. Oh, sorry, Richter.
If there's a mastermind inciting the curse bearers to collect soul dregs, can we be sure there even is a rite of resurrection?
Good question. The rite could be nothing but a myth fabricated to spur the curse bearers into action. Seeing it might be for naught, do you want to give up, ma'am?
Never.
Understood. After all, we'll never know the truth unless we see it for ourselves. But we'll do it without using the curses ourselves. Are you sure about that, Richter? And by the way, I met a few people who seem like potential curse bearers last night. I did some investigating into all of them, but I only managed to get detailed information on 2.
You're quick. I suppose that's to be expected from an investigator extraordinaire.
Fucking JoJo post. I appreciate the flattery. First is Ayame Tono, the girl we talked to before, though she isn't a curse bearer herself. She's a student attending T University of Art. She currently lives alone in an apartment near Midoricho Park.
You even determined her address. You're not one to be underestimated, Mr. Investigator Extraordinaire.
I called every single university with an ukiyo-e in the curriculum pretending to be her parent. I ran around to check on her place on the way here. Doesn't seem like she returned home last night. I'm worried she might have run into some trouble.
Didn't you attempt to follow her last night?
I'm embarrassed to say, but I couldn't. She shook me. I couldn't keep track of her.
And here I thought you were an investigator extraordinaire.
I'd like to learn more about her, but it would take some time. She is planning to steal the curse stones, just like us. It's best we act carefully around her. Next is a tall man who was dressed in black. The guy we cucked? The guy we always cuck? I met him near, Kinchicho, Jesus. He stood out with the way he dressed. I managed to get some good information from him.
Impressive.
What can I say? He works as the secretary to Hihaku Soap's chairwoman. I believe his name is Takumi Yumioka. The Hihaku Soap's headquarters and factories are both located in Honjo, correct?
Yes, they've been here for a while, but it's only in the past 10 years that the company has shown significant growth.
I remember seeing the chairwoman on the news a few years back. She seems to be very shrewd. With the increase in sales, I assume she wants her factories running at full capacity. But with the harsh restrictions against industrial waste, a lot of the factories with older equipment had to be shut down.
And that's right. Even 10 years ago, there were many complaints about chemical plants dumping waste into the river.
Most companies back then were more concerned with making a profit than protecting the environment. I wonder what a man working for such a company would have been up to in the middle of the night. On the way here, I stopped by the company's headquarters, but they hadn't started for the day. I should have had better luck later.
Let's hope you will. Perhaps they're interested in seeing if the right would be beneficial for their product research into beauty and skincare?
Huh, that's an interesting thought. She's a smart lady. I ran into one more suspicious young man last night.
This one seemed to be out collecting soul dregs, right?
Indeed. I couldn't get a good look at him, though, and I couldn't gather enough intel to properly identify him.
Well, that's a shame.
But I can make an educated guess.
Oh?
You know that researcher who discovered the ancient text on the Rite of Resurrection? The one that lives near here? His name is Hideki Araishi, and the man I met was very similar in stature.
Oh my. Even he is involved? How awfully suspect. Considering his background, wouldn't he be the one who initiated the whole affair?
I think it's possible, yes. Which is why I decided to refrain from making contact with him for the time being. Safety first.
Understandable.
Of course, I want to learn more, but this isn't the right time to focus on him. I prefer to ascertain who else is a curse bearer. First, I'll return to Hihaku Soaps to see the man in black. Their headquarters are down on South Watagasui Street. I learned something new about the criminal involved with the kidnapping. It concerns the serial killings. There was a body found at Komagata High School. The person was identified as a school teacher. His name was Kohei Jinoichi.
Do you think he was a curse bearer?
Not sure. It's possible. But regardless, this means the two people who knew the truth about the kidnapping are both dead.
Just when we were getting somewhere.
It isn't enough to make me give up, of course. Still, we don't know anything about Michio Shirashi's residence. It'd be wise to pay it a visit.
Understood.
In addition to the 3 victims associated with the Honjo serial killings, there's Michio Shirashi, who reportedly committed burp, and the police officer who died at the former Yasuda Gardens. If strange deaths continued occurring like so, they're bound to inspire strange rumors.
But those last 2 have nothing to do with the 7 mysteries, no?
It's true, both occurred a week before this accursed situation began. Still, it cannot be ruled out. It's possible that the mastermind was involved even with those killings.
How?
What if there were preliminary steps to awakening the 7 mysteries' curses? Can we really assume they're unrelated just because the timing doesn't match up? Or rather, the police officer's death is so baffling that it'd be easier if it were connected to these curses? The victim wasn't the type to be caught off guard easily.
You seem to know a lot about this.
I suppose we weren't strangers. My personal feelings might be wrapped up in this one, too.
I see. If you were to investigate this matter more, you might get a lead on the mastermind.
You're right. If we wish to focus on the mastermind's identity, this would be a fine starting point. We might even discover more deaths related to the curses on the way. We should pay attention to today's news. Well, that's all I have to report. Shall we continue with our investigation? What do you want to do? If you still can't use the curse stone, taking a walk should be a fine place to start.
Right, let's go together. I want to see what's going on for myself.
In that case, I'll trust you to decide on where we should go, ma'am.
Where should I go to begin my search? Which places have stood out to me the most so far?
All of them. Well, let's start by which is closer, which is this. South Wadagasui. The Hihaku Soap's headquarters are on the other side of South Wadagasui Street. They were closed when I visited this morning, but it appears things are up and running now. Yes, but is there a bird? Richter, are you hiding the bird? Where's the bird, Richter? Where's the fucking bird sticker? To think a small soap-making company could grow so much in such a short time. They have factories and warehouses throughout the area now. You can see why director and now chairwoman Natsue Yamamori is called the Queen. Oh. We have a Pichu. Natsue is the former president of Hihaku Soaps, a large chemicals company. Though she retired from her position 2 years ago, she still wields great influence over the company from her position of chairwoman. Recently, there have been rumors about her possessing strange and powerful magical abilities, earning her the nickname the Witch of Hihaku. Prior to the war, Natsue enjoyed working her dream job at a textile factory. She was forced to face the bitter reality of the world, however, when the factory was destroyed by a fire during the war. She was ordered to rework the fabrics she had painstakingly crafted into something more suitable for blue-collar work. Witnessing the rise in popularity of Western-style clothing in the post-war period, Natsue left the textile industry. However, a nod to her past can be seen in her company's name, with Hihaku being another name for kasuri, a type of fabric featuring patterns and images woven with dyed fibers. Having long been dissatisfied with the soap supplied at the textile factory, Natsue saw a business opportunity and set up her own small soap factory. Taking inspiration from the imported soap brand, she developed new products which quickly gained a good reputation. Ever the shrewd businesswoman, Natsue ran an aggressive promotional campaign on TV featuring a popular Japanese singer, rapidly turning Hihaku Soaps into a household name. Get that bread, girl.
You mentioned that Takumi works as her secretary?
That's correct.
Do you think it's possible he's acting on her orders?
That's exactly my thinking. A curse bearer with both money and power could certainly look at resurrection as their next prize. Negotiating with a person of that stature may prove difficult. Business is up and running. I can see people inside the reception area. Okay, but why is it... First, I need to confirm whether Takumi is the man I ran into last night. Then I'll be able to determine if he's a curse bearer. It'll be better if I go inside the headquarters alone. You should walk around, visit a cafe or for some tea, perhaps.
I like tea. I have some hot chocolate instead, and some cake. So an influential person at Hihaku Soaps is potentially a curse bearer? Richter proposed we use money to negotiate for the curse stones. But we could hardly outbid a large corporation if it came down to it. He tells me he barely slept last night, and yet he seems to be brimming with energy. Was I too that resilient at his age? Perhaps that's what sets us apart, a detective from the rest.
We're here. This is Midori-cho Park. Ayame Tono lives around here. She wasn't in her apartment when I dropped by this morning. I wonder if it's worth checking again.
Where are the birds? I need to find where are the bird stickers. There are no bird stickers.
This place is connected with the story of the Taiko of Suguru. Not only that, Katsuhiko Hokusai's home was also in this area. That might be why Ayame chose to live here.
It seems picking up Ayame's trail is out of the question for now. Why did we even come here? I don't know, the game said!
Listen, get off my dick, alright? Won't get much done standing around here. Why don't I go and check out Ayame's apartment?
You don't mean to speak with her, do you?
No, I'd prefer to get an idea what she's been up to. I'd like to see whether she's been home or not, just to potentially get a trace on her movements.
Then be my guest.
Okay, I shouldn't be long. I'm back, ma'am.
So, nothing?
I'm afraid so. She still hasn't returned. However, I noticed a few people who seem to be related to the police force keeping watch in the area. I don't know if they got eyes on her apartment, but they do appear to be watching the building it's in.
Interesting. You've got a sharp eye to have noticed them despite them being so covert.
What could I say? It's part of the job. However, it meant I had to refrain from knocking on her door or looking through her windows. I wasn't able to check her electric meter or mailbox either, unfortunately.
You were planning to go that far?
It's nothing but thorough. Won't make much progress sticking around here. Yeah, I know. Get off my dick, Richter! Here we are at Ground Zero, Komagata High School. I guess it's logical that the police got this place shut down. The teacher's body was found here after all. It's as if the students have nowhere to go now the school's closed. Right? Go somewhere else, guys. Jesus. The news has attracted a bunch of curious onlookers, huh? That works in our favor. The more people around, the better we can blend in. Richter, I don't really think you can blend in, sweetie. The way you're dressed. Seems the officers are still inspecting the scene. Entry has been strictly prohibited. This place is said to be connected with the story of the Fool's Procession. I wouldn't be surprised if a curse bearer decided to turn up. However, I need to find out if that teacher was a curse bearer or not. I expect the police to be baffled, since they don't know about the curses. I can ask around and see what the students have to say. Alright, I'll go ask the students about Michio. I'm back, ma'am.
So, what did you learn?
That school kids sure love a good rumor. I was practically drowning in stories about Mr. Jinochi and Michio, most of which seemed dubious at best.
Not surprising.
Most of what I heard was hardly worth a second thought. But there was one story that caught my attention.
Oh?
Some believe that Michio is the one who killed Mr. Jinochi.
Really?
The story's got 2 pieces of evidence to back it up. One of them wasn't news to me. Apparently he'd been mumbling that Michio was going to kill him for some days now. A fellow teacher overheard his mumbling and told the students. How would you do that?
And then it spread like wildfire, I suppose. Rumors that juicy don't stay a secret for long.
As for the other piece of evidence, a pigtailed girl in her school uniform was seen around school late last night.
Go on.
Although numerous people claim to have seen the girl, not one of them saw her face. Some are proposing it was Michio brought back to life, or that it was her vengeful spirit. But it's not like Michio's the only high school girl to wear pigtails. This rumor might have been made up just to fan the flames.
But if it were true, I want to get a hold of her in order to hear her side of the kidnapping.
If she's alive, that'd be ideal. There's still one more thing I should mention. I discovered where Michio lived. A student had a list of student addresses on hand.
That's an amazing find.
I believe all the students actually have a copy of said list. It truly worries me how easy it is to obtain what should be confidential information, right? Imagine what would happen if that information got into the wrong hands.
Well, so far it hasn't, no?
Sure, let's hope it stays that way. In the meantime, it's now possible for us to go visit Michio Shirashi's house. I can imagine the students are uneasy after learning of the murder. It may do them well to stay home for some time, if not for fear of their safety. The police are probably too wrapped up in solving the case to be concerned about the students' mental health.
I can see that.
What a sweetie! I love him. I'm so sorry, Richter. I thought you were going to say something. It's important that society provides a safe environment for the benefit of our youth. Some school policies could use some rewriting, especially those handling the students' personal information.
That's right. I don't want a student being kidnapped on their way back home ever again.
I expect criminals to grow more cunning as time passes. There may be times where the authorities can't keep up. That's where outlaws such as myself come in.
What's this about?
Actually, just forget I said anything. Richter.
Michio's home. I'd expect her family might be able to tell us more, but it's a hard topic to bring up so soon after her. However, it's normal for a high school girl to keep things hidden from her parents, especially if it involves criminal activity.
Yay! Criminal activity. Just a bit of cheeky criminal activity.
How did it go?
I went to visit Michio Shirashi's family home, however. No one seemed to be there. I got no answer at the door and all the lights were out. It seems to have been empty for a while now. There was a stack of newspapers out front. Social connections run deep in working class areas like this place, so I decided to talk to the locals. I met a few nice old ladies who were kind enough to give me the scoop. Turns out the Shirashis' reputation really went down the dumps this past year.
Is that so?
I'll give you the quick summary. They moved here about 3 years ago. Their previous residence was in a better part of town. Michio's father died in a car accident, leaving behind just the two of them. Michio's mom, Toshiko, now a single mother, relocated here. At first they got along with their neighbors, many of which were in similar situations, helping and being helped in turn.
So far, so good. What happened?
Well, as I said, their reputation began to go downhill about a year ago. A man recognized as Toshiko's common-law husband had moved into the household. His name was apparently Tankichiro Iwai. Neighborhood gossip is something else. Somehow everyone knew his name.
So, what of this Iwai character?
He was apparently a vulgar fellow with a criminal record. He was prone to violent outbursts. The neighbors often heard screams and shouting coming from the home. The neighbors took particular notice of Toshiko's screams, pleading with him not to hit Michio.
That's terrible.
If that wasn't unsettling enough, every night the neighbors also began to hear an eerie chanting. Through this, the Shirashis standing in the neighborhood plummeted rapidly. Toshiko was often seen covered in bruises and wounds. She stopped responding to her neighbors. she would just turn the other way when greeted. They kept their storm shutters closed even during the day, and effectively shut themselves away from the entire community.
That sounds horrible. Why didn't the police step in and do something?
Unfortunately, under our current laws, the police aren't allowed to get involved with domestic disputes. That's a bit ridiculous. Not gonna do it now either.
That's awful.
And then Michio reportedly herself. Things only got worse with EY, and Toshiko was admitted to the hospital for physical and mental abuse. Ever since, EY hasn't returned to the home. Many locals expressed sympathy for Michio's circumstances, but just as many were fed up with the Shirachis entirely, and seemed relieved that the things finally quieted down again. It seemed that they were still considered outsiders even after 3 years of living here.
I don't understand it. Why would Toshiko have gotten involved with such a brutish good-for-nothing in the first place?
I've heard many stories where one's partner's personality does a complete turn after entering a relationship. After her first husband's death, Toshiko's financial situation had also taken a turn for the worse. She was determined to send her daughter to a good high school, and it's possible she fell victim to sweet promises.
Life can be tough, I suppose.
You don't seem moved by the story, ma'am. That's fine. People have all kinds of stories. Oh, God.
The Shirachis were dealt a tough hand, and I can't imagine what it was like. Could it be the girl was forced by her circumstances to take part in the kidnapping?
But the Shirachis certainly hadn't lucked out with theirs, bringing such a violent man into it. Are we done? Can't go anywhere else, huh? It's a bit quieter over here. It is a residential area, after all. All these run-down row houses really scream working class, don't they? Victor, please. Don't be rude.
I've never liked these messy and cluttered back streets. They give me the jitters every time. It's reassuring to have someone so strong and tall as Richter accompanying me. He looks so unfazed. I suppose a detective is used to this kind of thing, always investigating and chasing criminals. I wouldn't be cut out for it.
Is he strong? Is he, though? I'm sure he practices his taekwondo. We can't really progress, huh? We're kind of stuck in all 3 routes right now. Is there something I have to do?
Did I just see a bird?
You were right in front of me the whole time. Oh, good going, ma'am. You found Haku. That's a rare one.
Is it now?
His name is Haku. His name is Haku. Stupid birds.